live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Yes, it is. Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live. Brian Schnee with you. It's Friday, June 16th. We're going to go in depth tonight on law enforcement in Utah. We're talking about something worth choosing. It's a new campaign that they just rolled out from the Utah Sheriff's Association. But first, happy to have Congressman Burgess Owens in studio with us tonight. Thanks for being here.
Brian, it's a pleasure. Looking forward to it, my friend.
DC, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot for you in your first term. What's some of the legislation you're most proud of?
I would say we just dropped a couple days ago, which is the DCA Act. That's going to actually allow Utahns and people across the country to be able to afford to come to DC. It's a long-term fix because it's been a process over the last 60 years where Dallas has kind of owned that area, and that's made prices so high for people to get in and out of DC. So that's going to be one of them. The other one is the debt ceiling. You know, what we're doing right now is we're dealing with the spending budget, the spending reforms. We have to now get to the budget reforms, and that's going to be the thing that most people are thinking about when they think about the $32 trillion national debt. It's the budget reform that we have to finally start dealing with, and we'll get to that as soon as we have more of a place in the House, to say the least.
I think the air travel thing is very interesting. Of course, you're a member of the House Committee of Transportation and Infrastructure, yeah. So it's always something that's probably on the mind. But when we're talking about folks here in Utah, our airports here, what else can be done here for our mostly centrally located state for the ease of travel for Utahns?
Well, this is a big one because I understand Salt Lake City is going to be the hub. Is a hub of the West. We have an airport that's state-of-the-art, and we're expanding that out in say the least. We have the inland port, we have the innovation, we have the collaboration between the state and federal. So just doing things like this, and by the way, the DCA Act, these two airports, Dulles and Reagan, are the only two that still deal with federal legislation. So this is going to make a major difference for those coming from around the country, really, that wants to go directly to DC as opposed to going around the world to get to DC. So it's going to impact our airport here. And being on that committee, I'm looking forward to seeing the innovation and sharing the innovation we have here and the entrepreneurial spirit to those across the country as we get out things figured out.
Congressman Burgess Owens with us here on 2 News Live. What's really happening with the passport situation right now? Are there massive delays? Are people not planning ahead? What gives?
It's massive delays in bureaucracy. People can plan ahead for months and still run into the same issues. That's why we're trying so hard to get something done here in DC. It's a very, very frustrating thing when you realize how much is delayed, how much misery can be caused by the bureaucracy of DC, but that's what people are experiencing. And again, we're working hard because this is a central location. If we can get one here, it'll make a difference in the entire western part of our country, to say the least.
All right, a shakeup in the delegation, obviously. Representative Chris Stewart resigning in a few months. What have you spoken about with Chris?
Well, first of all, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Chris. He's my good buddy. Had a lot to do with me deciding to make the run. He's leaving for the right reasons, which we all respect, and something that I wasn't really thinking about because we were planning on making some plans on next year. He has some tremendous committees that he's been part of that are going to impact us, and so we have to figure out how to backfill those committees. Appropriations is one, intelligence is another. But I wish Chris the best. He's a guy who has a lot of respect from those that back in D.C. Now we have to see who we're going to have to replace him, and that's going to be a big one. I hear about 22 people so far, and if my numbers correct, I've kind of decided to join into the process.
A lot of people with their hat in the ring, if you will. Let's stay on that real quick.
Okay.
What characteristics are you looking for somebody to take that role?
Someone that will replace Chris's conservatism, someone who puts our country first, puts Utah first, who understands the values that we have here, faith, family, free market education. It's a district that already gets that, so I'm really excited about the fact I know the replacement will reflect the values that Chris has stood for, and I'm looking forward to seeing who that might be and working with him.
Representing District 4 here in Utah, Burgess Owens with us here on 2 News Live. 2024 is a big year. Of course, there's a Senate race here in Utah. Mayor Trent Staggs has put his name in from Riverton. Don't know if Mitt Romney will do the same right now, but are you planning to endorse anyone in this race?
Not at the beginning. I'm going to wait and see what happens. My policies in the past is to let the primary work its way out and let the people here speak. We'll see how that goes based on who gets in. But we're going to have some, I think, some good talent stepping into this place. It's something we need to be represented. We are I think, the light of our country in terms of what we do here. So we have to make sure we have the right representation to make sure that happens.
All right, you talked about a lot of people wanting Chris Stewart's seat, or at least tossing their name in there. How about the race for president, though? Let's look at the names together, right? So you have former President Donald Trump, you have Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former VP Mike Pence, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, former UN Ambassador and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, of course, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Really, the Republican list just goes on and on and on. To the Democratic side, President Joe Biden said he'll do it again if he can. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Marianne Williamson. So if the election were today, is there somebody out of that list, or maybe not even on that list, who you'd like to see as the next president?
I'm actually still going through that process. I'm kind of getting feedback. I have some thoughts, but I'm going to make sure I nail that down. And again, when I come out with it, everybody will get a chance to know. For sure.
Don't worry, we've got some time for that one, but
yeah.
there'll probably be some more folks that want to talk about it. Hey, this is a really fun one. Let's go through the credentials. Drafted by the Jets, won a Super Bowl with the Raiders. You're also a part of the Big League Utah Coalition. There's some support there. What would it mean to have Major League Baseball in the state of Utah?
It would fit, actually. Utah, particularly Salt Lake, is the hub of the entire Northeast in so many different ways, with our inland port, with our airport that we have going on right now. It would kind of make sense that we have a team like that. The key is where. I would say as long as it's in the Salt Lake City area, that would make more sense to me. I would not like to see it coming further south, but of course, being where we are and the access people have to our state, it would make sense to have something like that.
Well, they've already made moves in Vegas, home of the Raiders now, which wasn't the case when you played. So that's already been a change. Anything else on your mind? Thanks for being here tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, I'd just like to say I'm excited about the committees I'm part of. I'm on the education workforce. I'm also transportation infrastructure. Two things that can have a remarkable impact not only on Utah, but also across our country. So I'm just very proud of a state that leads the way we do. We lead in collaboration and enterprise, free enterprise innovation. So I like to thank the folks here for the representation we have here, and we look forward to doing a lot more as we move forward, for sure.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Brian. Thank
Appreciate
you so much.
you joining 2 News Live tonight. If you missed any part of the conversation, or if you'd like to catch it again, we will post the full conversation, the full interview, on our KUTV YouTube page. Hey, let's take a quick live look outside from our rooftop camera. Looks pretty nice. It's a different afternoon. Where are those thunderstorms, Sterling? They're not coming?
There's some across southern Utah. There's some across even northern Utah this afternoon, and we'll take a look at that. But first, I want to just show you a little time lapse from Price. Actually, the time lapse is gone. But anyway, 1/1800ths of an inch in Cedar City, Lavercan 0.08, St. George 0.05. This is all since midnight last night, so there's still a few showers across the southern part of the state. And speaking of rain, Price has been really a benefactor of some really nice rain. This is a new record yesterday, a daily precipitation record for June 15th, 0.6 of an inch of rain. And so for the month so far, 1.27 inches of rain in Price, if you can believe that. The record 1.37 set back in 2015, but the normal is a little over 1/3 of an inch. So we are really doing well. As far as precipitation in the eastern part of Utah, it's been pretty nice, and that's kind of a bonus because June is usually a very, very dry month. Summerfest Arts Fair up in Cache Valley, 70s tonight. Saturday morning it'll be in the 60s. Saturday afternoon in the 70s again. Lots of sunshine, although there are a few clouds out there right now. Arches. Possible still of getting some flash flooding today, but none expected tomorrow. But please, folks, please check the forecast. These thunderstorms can pop up just about anywhere at any time, but it does look like we have a drier weather pattern in the forecast for tomorrow, which is nice. Here's a look at some of the national parks forecast. 85 at Arches, 72 at Capitol Reef with partly cloudy skies, Bryce Canyon 68, Zion National Park 85 degrees and sunny tomorrow, so that's different than what we've seen the last 24 hours. 68 in Vernal. These are right now temperatures, 65 in Manti, but look at Panguitch. Some showers in the Panguitch area, 54 degrees currently, 76 in Wendover and 80 in St. George. You can see up in Montpelier, Soda Springs, down toward Garden City, we've got these showers moving from north to south. Randolph's got a little shower activity near you, some possibly hearing a little bit of thunder, but down south, the storms are mainly around the Lake Powell area. We've got these storms coming in from the southwest right across Lake Powell, so hopefully people taking refuge there from those storms. Tonight, temperatures down in the 40s and 50s in some spots, and tomorrow we'll see those high temperatures climbing right up there into the 70s. Here's the forecast for the next 7 days. It does look like we'll see 90s in St. George, back into the 80s on Tuesday. We can get a lot of wind Sunday through Thursday, so overnight lows will be in the 60s, close to 70 degrees. Salt Lake City, our normal high now is 84. We're going to be 82 tomorrow, 90 on Sunday, and then we'll keep it in the 80s on Monday. Then back into the 70s on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then back into the 80s Thursday and Friday. So a little bit of below normal, a little bit of above normal temperatures.
Happy early Father's Day, Sterling.
And same to you.
Yeah, it's going to be a very nice, warm weekend, at least a warm Sunday. That little breeze might help things.
It's going to feel a little more like summer, which starts, by the way, on Wednesday.
Oh, we are getting close.
Yeah,
I knew I needed you for that because I can never remember exactly what day is what here.
Yeah.
Great looking forecast. Looks very different than where we were last week. We were seeing a lot of thunderstorms. We think we've made the switch now, perhaps?
I think we have, and it does look like the storm that's trying to come in next week is not going to get here. It's just going to cause a lot of wind and dry things out a little more.
Well, we always like more water, but we've gotten a fair share. It's been pretty impressive.
Share, but the last 2 months we've been below normal precipitation.
Interesting.
And guess, what do you think? Above normal or below normal for June for temperatures?
Oh, temperature is below normal.
No.
Am I right?
2 degrees above normal so far in June.
Really? No way. It just hasn't felt.
And it was 5 degrees above normal in May.
You know, I would have never guessed because it was pretty comfortable.
Yes, it's
but maybe it's
comfortable.
because we had that pretty cozy snowfall for a little extra time on the beginning and the end of the season.
Yeah, we're actually above normal for the month of June so far.
Thank you, Sterling.
Yeah.
Remember to download our 2 News weather app. You can always find that app to know about the changes in your neighborhood. You can get updated forecast, as always, live radar right on your phone. You might not need that right now, depending on where you are in the state, but you'll always need it for temperatures, especially to check on the latest Father's Day forecast. Going in depth on the law enforcement profession tonight. Just this week, the Utah Sheriff's Association, all of the departments across the state rolled out the Something Worth Choosing campaign. Basically, they're hiring. They've got vacancies all over the state. Just a few days ago, I had the opportunity to learn more about a deputy at the Sevier County Jail, her pursuit at a law enforcement career, and the challenges she's faced.
Well, my great-grandpa was actually sheriff of Sevier County, and then my grandpa Kerry was lieutenant of Sevier County, and so I've been chasing that since I was a little girl.
At 27, Destiny Meekum-Callio now wears the uniform. What was your life like before this?
It was pretty troublesome sometimes. So, I mean, I didn't have a good teenage life. I dropped out of high school at one point, you know. I had mental health problems, you know, and I was bouncing between my mom and my dad a lot. While her challenges growing up unfortunately aren't uncommon, they were still her challenges to overcome. I mean, there was constant fights. I was a pretty nitty-gritty kid. I spoke my mind at all times. I would do what I wanted when I wanted, you know. I was fighting with my parents constantly, and I had no respect for anybody. Destiny is one of the personnel featured in a recent video put together by the Utah Sheriff's Association, Something Worth Choosing. She worked to get where she is today, and a lot of that came from working on herself. You can go through a hard time, and you can still make it out on top, like whatever your dream is. I mean, that video shows some things. I mean, I did try to kill myself at 15, you know, and I had those suicidal thoughts, and I'm still here today, and it's not the end of the world. Destiny takes her experiences and life perspective with her to work at the Sevier County Jail. I can relate to people who are going through a hard time and be like, hey, I've been there, like, it's just a speed bump, let's get you through this.
When she's able to connect with people that some of the other deputies can't.
Sevier County Sheriff Nathan Curtis says that, in a way, her foundation gave her a leg up in the way she connects with others.
Having that experience and understanding of what people are going through and the choices they have to face and the difficulties they face, being able to relate to them, a lot of times that's what we hear from people. You guys don't understand me. And to have somebody who says, yes, I understand what you're going through. I understand the things you're dealing with, whatever it may be. And actually, they can relate to them. It makes a difference. It really does. Coming from the darkness to find light. And she wasn't given the best foundation, but she knew what her dreams were and what she wanted to do. Now sharing that valuable life experience, no matter how difficult, with others going through a similar thing. I proudly go to work every day. I love what I do. I mean, it's tiring at times, but at the end of the day, I feel like I've made a difference or I've done something better. Well,
Well, Destiny isn't alone. We also talked about how so many have gone through their own struggles, taken their own path to find a better way. For Destiny, it's her career now in law enforcement that she says gives herself and her 2 boys a better life. Well, today, there are more than 230 vacancies at the 29 sheriff's offices around the state. So if you're thinking about a change or a career wearing the uniform, the time could be right now.
We have a continual, just open process here at Utah County where you can come in, and we're down over 20 deputies at Utah County alone, and so we've got open enrollment for testing and for applications, and you'll see that across the state with our sheriff's offices and with our police departments, with the highway patrol, with the prison. It's just the industry, the profession has really taken a big hit.
Why?
As you look through it, through what's happened, what we've been through, you see these things that have happened time and time again, but this last little hit we took over 2020 with the riots and everything else that happened, they have hurt us bad. There has been, in my opinion, a very focused effort to go after law enforcement and to really undermine the good work that the men and women do across this nation in law enforcement. There's always going to be, unfortunately, mistakes that are made in any industry. The scrutiny and what has happened to law enforcement seems very intentional. Our job is to make sure our communities are safe for our citizens, and to not have good men and women fill those roles in our offices and our departments. It translates back to really that, to our citizens and what we can offer our citizens, and sometimes it's prioritizing calls because we just can't handle the things that we have normally handled. Law enforcement it's service. If you have a desire to make your community better, to be out there for your fellow citizens, it is a job of service. And so if you feel that inside, that you can do that, you feel that draw towards law enforcement, we'd like you to come and apply. And it is, at the end of the day, no matter what the world has said, our nation has said, the media has said, law enforcement is an honorable career.
Something worth choosing. To watch the new video from the Utah Sheriff's Association and see other paths to law enforcement, you can find it on our website, KUTV.com. I wrote up the article myself, so I know it should be there. More information on how to look for jobs, perhaps a career serving your community. We thank them for all they do each and every day. What do you think?
You got weekend plans?
I'm not going to be here in Utah, so I don't need your forecast truly, but I know so many people out there who do. I was hoping, if I was going to be here, Father's Day, I was hoping for a little early morning golf round, but I'm sure a lot of folks will be out there enjoying those temperatures.
Anything you want outside.
What do you got going on?
It's going to be beautiful. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees on Sunday. We'll see a little bit of wind, so if you're out on some of the big lakes, make sure you got all the life jackets in the boats. Be safe. It's that time of the year when we need to start thinking about, that water's still cold, and if I get into trouble, I got to have a life jacket.
It can shock you pretty quick, too.
Yes, it can.
Thank you, Sterling. Thanks for watching 2 News Live. Thanks to Congressman Burgess Owens for being here, for joining us live tonight. And of course, for all of you at home or watching wherever you may be right now, we appreciate you. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Give Sunday a little love to Dad, why don't you? From a dad, from a dad.
There you go.
Have a great weekend. We'll be back next week.
See y'all.